Well, this was it was John, my friend John Minot. It was his idea.
With Steve's background, he's a McLaren man through and through, and I've got a particular affection for cars of that era. I think they were designed really with aesthetics, probably the most important thing, that they had to look nice, and they weren't really aware of downforce and things like that.
And well, this car, you know, I have some history with McLaren, and it's styling-wise, it's based on an original McLaren M1A, and I always quite like the look of these cars, styling-wise. It's just a nice-looking car. So we wanted to build something that's high performance, quite simple, almost the antithesis of some of the modern super high-tech cars. It's a simple design, simple concept. It's quite lightweight, got good power. It uses a small block Chevrolet engine. You know, they've had 60 years of development, so it's got quite a lot of horsepower. It's quite light, so and it's quite inexpensive, so it makes a good basis for the powertrain.
We didn't just want to create a replica of the original car. We wanted to do something which was a modern car, which you could use every day if you wanted to, and which to people who weren't aware of the original car could be a modern car. And so the car is wider than the original car by about 6 inches. It's quite chunkier. It's got a longer wheelbase. So if you show it to somebody who isn't aware of cars from the 60s, they will see something fairly modern. Whereas somebody who's aware of the heritage will know where it comes from.
It's street legal. If on a sunny Sunday afternoon you want to go to the pub for a beer and a sandwich, it's good for that as well. You know, it's still just at the prototype stage, just to see how it would turn out. So it's just a few of us developing this project. If it all turns out well and it's well received by the public, then you know, we'd perhaps like to build a few more production versions of it. In that way, it sort of mirrors Bruce McLaren when he built the original M1A, and people said to him, well, so where can I get one of these? So they ended up making customer cars, and we could do the same if this is well received and people want one.
Totally built in England, and apart from the engine, of course, we've got already people in the Woking area who worked on Formula One McLarens back in the 1980s. So the proposition would be that if you want your car built by the people who built Sennas and Prosts and so on, then that's what you're going to get.
It's got 520 horsepower and it'll go 150 odd miles an hour, so I think it's going to want to feel a little more connected to the planet, so we'll probably have to add a little more downforce.
Your signature car was the MP4. When you look at it now, what do you think?
I think it still looks quite nice, and inevitably I have a soft spot for that car. It's very simple. At the time it was, of course, right up to date, but now it looks extremely simple. You have to remember that then the total technical staff at McLaren was 17 people, so we didn't go into near as much detail as they do on the current cars. I think it's the same sort of exercise. At the time, we used the manpower that we had, we used the brain power that we had, we used the tools that were available to us to do the best job that we could technologically. Same thing as they do now, except maybe they've got 300 people and a lot more computers and a lot more technology, a lot more tools, so they do a lot more, and consequently the cars get a lot more complicated. But the basics are the same.
I wonder what Bruce would make of this one.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think he'd quite like it. You know, obviously he must have liked the original M1A, and this looks very much like that original M1A. The styling cues are there.